if you permit, I'll sort of just make one or two brief comments on what you have said and what Fred has said just now. I think it was not only 1971, it goes much before that. And if you know, in the geostrategic sense, when Prime Minister Nehru visited the Soviet Union in 1955 and we had the return visit of Khrushchev and Bulgarin, I think that is when it really all started in terms of India-Soviet partnership, friendship, whether it is in the area of economy or defense or anything else. The second point I would like to make is, you know, what Fred said, that it is India's policy of non-alignment, which India has been following. I think we have been very clear in recent years that this is not a policy of non-alignment. A country as big, as large, as powerful, as influential as India cannot be, you know, following a policy of non-alignment. It's a policy of multi-alignment, and today and that is what, you know, it brings India. It has, we have excellent relations with the United States, with Europe, with Japan, Australia, and also with Russia. So it is much more of a policy of multi-alignment. And last point on that is that, you know, again, what Fred said, that the West accepted the India's policy of non-alignment. I would tend to, you know, beg to differ a little bit, because if you recall, when India had launched this whole idea of non-alignment in the early 1950s, the then US Secretary of State, John Foster Dulles, had called it an immoral policy. It called it, you know, something that they did not agree with completely, and their motto was either you are with us or you are against us.
Right.
But you know, let that be what you know, on those points. But I think as far as the issues that are going to be discussed, what you mentioned, whether it is defense, it is connectivity, it is trade, it is what is the Arctic, it is Chennai-Vladivostok connectivity, it is the international north-south transport corridor, it is the FTA with the Eurasian Economic Union as to what we can do together, it is purchase of oil, how to sort of, you know, make our relationship more sustainable, more Russian investments. I think Russian investments in India, I think it's going to be all of this. But most importantly, it's also going to be a lot of geopolitics. And basically, I think Prime Minister Modi would like to hear from Mr. Putin as to what he thinks would be the end game as far as Ukraine is concerned. And because from the West, at the moment, there doesn't appear to be any indication that they are looking seriously at any end game of this nature. But I would imagine that, you know, what Prime Minister Modi had spoken out in front of the media in Samarkand in September 22, that this is not an era of war.
Yes.
Maybe he will sort of, you know, take it a little further. He will discuss it. Maybe not, it will not be in front of the cameras, but
yes,
a one-to-one conversation. But I think that's going to be an important conversation that the two leaders have. And I think both the countries really need to sort of, you know, isolate their relations from any of the other relations. I think there is enough strength, enough merit, enough ballast in the bilateral partnership. And I think we need to take that forward. You are very right. You know, RIC did have some merit some years ago, decades ago, actually. I remember I was in Moscow at that time when Mr. Primakov in 1998, he was the Prime Minister and he was traveling to India. And I was the charge in Moscow. I had come to see him off at the airport, and he had mentioned at that time, you know, that the three countries need to get together, Russia, India, China, need to resolve our differences. At that time, also China was not particularly keen, nor was India particularly keen on that issue. But I think of late in recent years, I remember one of the recent visits of Sergei Lavrov to Delhi, and I was in that meeting. And he said, India should look positively at the Belt and Road Initiative and become a member. Meaning these are all fine to tell India. I hope Russia is also telling China that, what they have done in 2020 in terms of bringing their 50,000 troops, 60,000 troops on the line of actual control in total violation of their agreement, the confidence building measure agreement in 1993 and 96. And they have, continued to put their heavy armory, heavy equipment on the border. Again, totally, when I mentioned border is the LAC. It's totally against what the two countries have decided. I wish that Russia were to tell China also that, what you are doing is not conducive to good relations with India. I don't think, it cannot be a gift from India that India should be looking at, improving relations. China has to be equal, if not more, because they are the ones who violated the agreement. So it's not India who went out and puts its troops. And, now it would appear that April 2020 that was done because China maybe thought COVID-19, we had our lockdown, which had started on the 22nd of March. So India would not be able to do anything about it. And so much so, I don't think there is any indication whatsoever from China that they are willing to, not to say extend a hand of friendship or cooperation, even a little finger, or in terms of movement towards, reaching out to India. And I'll just give you two very short examples. One is that, the Chinese ambassador to India, that position was vacant for I don't know how many years, 2 years or something. And only very recently we have got a new ambassador. If you value a relationship, then you don't keep that, position vacant. And even after, meaning it is an unprecedented historic win of Prime Minister Modi in these third elections. And till date, we have not heard, Xi Jinping extending a word of congratulations to Prime Minister Modi, although we have seen in our neighborhood, whether it was Shehbaz Sharif when he won the election or when he became Prime Minister, or Sheikh Hasina, these same, congratulatory messages from Xi and other leadership had gone. So, the message it sends to me is that China is in no mood to, be sensitive to India's concerns, India's security concerns, or to take them seriously. And if that is the situation, irrespective of what Russia might want, as I said, it has been wanting that for more than 25 years now, I don't think things on the ground are going to improve.